Good evening, everyone, and welcome to a semi-impromptu but much-needed second recap of the season, talking about everything going on in the Big Brother Hometown Season 8 house. Throughout this, we're going to talk about all the things going down because there is plenty to talk about. If any of the, I didn't tell this to Max and Steven, but if any of the viewing party evicted pre-jurors at any point, maybe later on, end up watching and want to come on, feel free. They're not watching now, so they'll miss me say this, but it doesn't matter. So I'll remind it later if I see some of them and they want to come chat all the things, because we can be open and honest with them because they're gone. It's over.
True.
Yeah.
So there's a lot to get to.
Yeah.
If you're new to the viewing party, welcome. Hope you're enjoying the season. I'm Josh. To my that way is Steven, and right here is Max. They're my co-hosts, and we're having a blast on this one.
Yeah.
It's been
For
very
sure.
fun. A lot of things to discuss and digest, and we're gonna probably talk about every player in some capacity tonight. So, where to begin? I think the only real place to begin, and it goes back to last HOH, which is really all you're caught up with. We'll catch you up with what's going on today, unless you want to wait for the episodes, but don't hang out with us. And the only place to start is with the one and the only Alex Day, the king of the castle, the one that is honestly in control of, well, almost absolutely everything. He didn't quite get his
Yeah.
way today, but we'll get into that. What do you guys think about Max's game up to this point? Or sorry,
Alex,
Alex's,
yeah.
not Max.
My
Max
game
could
is
Max
never.
is doing great.
Max could never.
never been on the block, never had a vote against me, and I get to hear everybody's conversations. It's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will
I
say,
mean, look,
oh,
somebody go ahead.
okay, I will say this about Alex. Alex is just besides being a strategic mastermind, he is very adept at being a very, very good personal friend to people and remembering little details about people's lives that they tell him and bringing that up later. And like, he's like, oh, how was that essay? Or like, oh, how's that family member? And like, it forms a real deep bond with people. And people think that Alex cares about them personally. And I'm sure like he does, like to some extent, but
Right.
it's game. And as such, like they form this emotional attachment to him. And in the case of Quinn, maybe up until like today, would never think of betraying him. And
Yeah.
he has done it for pretty much everybody. Uh, and it's just incredible to watch. It
Yeah,
really,
the proof is in the pudding in that
Yeah.
almost everybody in this game I mean, when Alex was HOH, which of course when someone's HOH, people are gonna like pledge their loyalty to that person, but this is different. Like every single person earnestly saying, "I've got you back 100%. I got you. I got you. I got you." And there's some people that rank higher in people that I think that like Alex actually reciprocates that with, but there are people way down on that list that are still just like pledging their undying
See,
support for Alex.
I don't even know that he's that way with anybody, though. I really don't. I think he would throw each and every single one of them
yeah,
straight under the bus. He doesn't have his ride or die. This is the most incredible thing to me about Alex. His self-proclaimed ride or die was Billy, and he went home
Right.
first. And since then, I mean, his game reminds me like the Survivor equivalent for me is Kim from One World, where she had every single solitary person thinking that I'm going to the end with her. And that's how I feel like everyone feels about Alex.
Yeah.
Everyone thinks that they are Alex's number one, and
I
he
see
has
it.
no number ones.
I see it if we want to do Survivor comparison. I see it more as Sarah's game in Game Changers because every person feels like they're his best friend, like in
Yeah.
real life, and that's things that people on that jury said specifically about Sarah. Like everyone feels like Alex is their person. They're like, I would never ever ever and right now I think the only person that has a little semblance of like that same kind of loyalty back is Robbie. Is the only person close, and then maybe Gray is next. I think.
Yeah.
And here's something. Speaking of Gray, here's something I wish that Gray. I think Gray's playing a very very good game, but Gray proposed the final two to Alex, and um,
Hello,
In that-
wife.
Hi,
No,
wife.
with you.
I have to eat.
Oh,
I'll just eat
I
some.
didn't know if you had. One
Live
second,
TV
guys.
folks.
This is what happens when we're live television and we're married men.
I'll be back in 1 minute.
Okay. I'm kicking you out.
That's
so I
it. 1 minute.
The thing about so Gray proposed a final two to Alex through a voice memo. This group loves to do voice memos, which is fine. I enjoy that actually.
Yeah.
He was like, I would like us to go to the end. I feel like we've both got a great story to tell. We can like both plead our cases and have a real good shot like to win. Which honestly, in that situation, I think Alex wins. I think Alex wins in almost any situation, unless he like starts to really burn people, which is possible.
But if I'm Alex, I'm not taking Gray.
Yeah, no, that's never gonna happen. But Alex's response was something to the effect of, "Oh, I'd love to make it there. I'd love to. I'd love to do that. Like, wow, that would be awesome." But it was not like a, "Hey, you're my final two. You're like, we're definitely doing this." And if I'm Gray, man, I'm looking at that response and thinking, that's not like reciprocating. Gray has over and over and over again like pledged his loyalty to Alex, but in a way but not in like the way that I feel like everyone else is, where they just like blindly trust him. I think Gray's smarter than that, but like I think that this is someone that Alex should be trying to get that loyalty, like should be like I think Alex should be solidifying with Gray a little bit more than he has been. There's a little bit of that returner thing, but like, you know, but because I think that if he doesn't, I think Gray at some point is going to smarten up, I would think, and realize that Alex is only looking out for Alex.
I would hope so. Thomas has already come to that realization.
Yes.
Thomas has been saying for days that Alex has been playing both sides of the house. And what I saw yesterday was that Thomas was trying to sound the alarm to people, aka Connor and Robbie and maybe even Daryl, I can't remember. And he was like telling these people like Alex is playing both sides and he has a lot of power, and he just saw it for what it was, and everybody like he was like talking to a wall. It was incredible to me.
That is obviously going to be a big storyline to follow right now. Is Thomas, because Thomas is the one. He's like the chosen one. Like that we see him from the outside, and we see that like, hey, whoever the Facebook user is, let StreamYard tell us who you are, because I'd love to know. I'm gonna guess like Jeff or Matt or something. But yeah, Thomas is the chosen one that we see, us from the outside see. He gets it. He sees this happening. But here's the problem with Thomas, is that he's got to win a comp.
He does.
Like, and today was his chance, and I was like, man, today could have been the competition to win, and he did not. Winning today, which helps Alex tremendously. We're not anti-Alex in a sense. We just would love to see the rest of the house
do something
for goodness sake. So Robbie wins today, wins HOH today, and so that means Alex is safe another round, which is smart for Robbie, because Robbie would be probably the next on the hit list if he's not already first on the hit list. But Alex is his only like one of his real shields right now on that side. That's what I think about that.
Yeah, for sure. Thomas, the reason that Thomas needs to win is because no one is going to like fight for Thomas's wishes on his behalf. Like Thomas really doesn't have a whole lot of people with him right now. He has like people that he talks to. Like he kind of talks to Quinn, he kind of talks to Kaylee, kind of talks to Daryl, but it's not really strategizing. It's like kind of flirting on the edges of strategic type talk. But like no one has really gone in with Thomas and it's like, I want to work with you, which I'm kind of like, it's because Thomas doesn't really give a whole lot to get a whole lot.
Thomas gives nothing.
Nothing. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. Let's just call it for what it is.
He gives absolutely nothing. The only time Thomas talks any kind of strategy whatsoever is after an HOH and after a POV.
Yeah.
Right. I mean,
other than that, he's not going to people like thinking ahead. Okay, we need to do this in case this happens. He's very reactionary, and that's him and everyone else, though, right? I mean, so it kind of gets lost. he gets lost in the shuffle when you're going over 100 different messages at a time.
Right,
Exactly.
which is unfortunate because he's so willing to make a move here, and if he could only like give enough so that people start to realize it, he's like that one little seed, but I don't know how big that seed's gonna grow right now, because people are like, yeah, you got like a little bit.
I feel like he could recruit Kaylee. Like Kaylee was just used by Alex last time,
And
completely used. And
Yeah.
yes, Alex was like considerate in like asking her like or making sure she was fully aware of what was going on and being like, if somebody comes off, I want you to help me pick the replacement. But Kaylee was 100% used by Alex, and Kaylee is smart enough to know that. I hope she's like realizing that Alex doesn't have her best interests at heart.
Yeah,
She
not even a
was
little
on
bit.
the block twice in a
There are
row.
sometimes that Alex like will make comments that to me are so obviously pandering. They're so unbelievably obvious. Like this morning, he goes to Kaylee and says something to the effect of like, "Man, I've been just like so excited for you all day. I've been thinking about how like you survived that last night." I'm like, "No, the heck you didn't, Alex. You know that you are." It's like you did not. Stop that.
Yeah.
So,
it literally, but he did that to everyone though. He even talked about, gosh, like, you know, I feel so good about how that HOH went yesterday, guys, and how that vote, it was unanimous. Like, that was really cool that was a unanimous vote, wasn't it, guys? Right. It's like,
it's like a cult leader. It's like a cult leader.
That's what I'm thinking.
It's like
incredible.
A cult leader working those kind of those affirmations, those positive things that slowly brainwash you. Yes. And Alex, when you see this afterwards, we are not trashing your game. If anything,
no, it's incredible.
It's amazing.
It's ridiculous.
I'm learning from this.
It is ridiculous. I just dropped my microphone. That's how crazy I believe this is. Like, but like, how far can he take it? Like, how far can he take this? I want to say
he's going to win.
Yeah,
he's going to win the game because unless Quinn, who last night decided to be the best little foot soldier he could be for Alex, decides to stop it. He could have. Go ahead.
We need to talk about Quinn.
To reset that, so Quinn won the power veto yesterday, told Alex he wouldn't use it, which wasn't necessarily the bad move, but it was everything else that he did. Quinn was thwarting any uprising against Alex's wanting of Trey out. Any chance that started to get any momentum, Quinn, Trey's #1 ally.
That's the thing.
Stopped it over and over and over again for fear of ruining his relationship with Alex, who can't be HOH the next day, who has no power going forward, and is just a person. He's just a person. He's just one human being.
Can you explain to me why people are so, like, after the HOH has already made the nominations and the nominations are set, people are very concerned with what the HOH wants. I'm like, the HOH has no more power. They can't vote. They can't be HOH next time. It's completely up to you. You know, like, do your own thing.
Well, and I've never seen that. That was not the way it was in season 6. That was not the way it was in season 7. Like, no one cared about that.
People are so concerned with like not pissing off the HOH after the HOH has already used up all of their power, and it's incredible to me.
Yeah, unless it's Robbie and Connor.
Well,
that's true.
That's a whole separate issue, but I think we need to revisit the Quinn thing and just like just finish that thought.
Well, there's plenty on Quinn. Yeah, loyal foot soldier to Alex, who's just a human being, and for whatever reason, like Quinn was determined to make sure Alex's HOH go well. Quinn even said it in his diary room. He said, "Good news, I made it to this point. Bad news, I just voted out my #1 ally."
Like he said that. Trey would have been completely loyal to Quinn.
And here's
Trey had no one else. Like Trey was just
Max, we're losing you a little bit.
Trey is a number. It's oh my god.
You're going in and out, Max.
Go ahead.
Well, what I was going to say is that we can kind of talk a little bit more about Quinn's the veto decision, because in a sense, like, he didn't make a terrible move by not using it. But if we go down the rabbit hole, if Quinn uses the veto on Trey and and Alex then puts Thomas up. That does a lot of, probably actually does some good now that I'm thinking about it for Quinn, because Quinn then doesn't have to worry about his relationship with Alex anymore. He burned it.
Yeah.
Then Quinn is like, then Quinn, when Alex puts Thomas up, realizes, oh, Alex isn't super loyal. Thomas, who Quinn and Thomas have never really been tight allies. Like, you would think maybe just like on the periphery, those two are obviously tight, but they're really not.
And they're being viewed as a pair by people, which is weird too. Like they're being viewed as a pair by a lot of people in the house. Like they're in the same breath all the time, and like they're not really working together.
Which they should be. They need to start like really figuring that out.
They do desperately.
But instead, he could have had Trey, and Thomas would have gone home probably. He could have had Trey, and they were tight. Even though Trey's game was sometimes a mess, like, you know, Trey was loyal to Quinn. So it'll be interesting to see. So now we get to today, because there's a lot more Quinn drama today. I wouldn't call it drama, but Quinn intrigue, if you will.
But before we get to that, just real quick about yesterday. What was Quinn doing? Not like he did this little cat and mouse thing about whether or not he was going to use the veto, while telling Alex the entire day he wasn't going to use it, and then waited till the very last second. And was he like doing that on purpose, or because that was just weird?
To be fair, he was busy. He was at work, and like you said, it takes like 10 seconds to film the video, but he was kind of talking to people though. Like he was talking to Thomas. He was talking to.
Yeah, he was feeling it out from the rest of the house, and I think that's fine from him. I think the only person that was really an issue with was Alex. You know, Quinn was maybe doing his due diligence and thinking through it. I don't think
that's probably what it was.
Didn't have any intention to change his mind, but I guess was open to it. I don't know. I think it caused him more harm than good for sure. Because now Alex and Quinn, even if Quinn thinks he's 100% with Alex, Alex is even less trusting of Quinn now.
Yeah.
Which I kind of understand on Alex's part a little bit, but Alex has been. went live. The snowball for Alex wanting to turn on Quinn has been slowly rolling down that hill and picking up a lot of steam. But Alex doesn't want to be the one to do it. But now he's at a point where he could do it, and it wouldn't really matter.
Yeah.
So then we get to today, and Robbie wins the HOH and is not determined. This is a smart decision. Robbie is set on eliminating someone from room 4 to the point where he has told everyone in the house. He said it in his nomination video. Like, I am making no bones about this. Room 4, there's 10 people in the house. There's 5 people from room 4. They all started this game together. None of them have been evicted. One of them's going home this week. Period. Yep. The end. Great. Alex, that makes a lot of sense. And so the dialogue between Robbie and Alex has just accepted that. He's like, okay, room 4 is being targeted, but I know Robbie's not coming after me, which is true. Yeah. And so the conversation was, who should the target be? Robbie, for whatever reason, and Steven, you have probably more intel on this than I can actually remember. Robbie is set on Daryl and is going after Daryl.
Yeah, so Robbie and Connor, the mob bosses, have they had a pretty long call today where for Robbie, I was telling you guys this, off camera, it was a self-fulfilling prophecy for Robbie where he said Daryl is going to come after me. I don't trust Daryl. Daryl gave him no reason to ever think that. Daryl honestly was 100% with Robbie. He felt good with Robbie. But then when Robbie told Daryl, hey, I think I'm going to put you up, that changed. Because obviously it changed, because it went from I thought that we were good to you're going to put me on the block? What happened to our relationship here? And then also, then it just spiraled from there, because Daryl told Alex that, hey, I'm going to go after Robbie now because we're clearly not good. And Alex sends it to Robbie, and now Robbie's all in. Daryl's got to go. But they talked about 100 different scenarios on that call, but it ended up because of and Robbie actually said it to Connor after the call and after before the noms went out. I think I screwed up. This is my fault for telling Daryl. now I can't go back because now I cannot trust him.
Right. Because Alex really wanted, we just got to do Quinn and Thomas. We got to get one of them out. I trust Daryl. I really trust Daryl for whatever reason. I guess, which is funny that Alex, like, is going out. I don't know if is he going out on the limb for Daryl, or is he really just trying to get Quinn or Thomas out?
Both. I think that he doesn't. I think he views Daryl as a 100% stone cold number who isn't going to ever turn on him. And he wants to get Quinn and or Thomas out. Yeah.
He has talked in his diary rooms about like slowly repairing his relationship with Daryl. And I think that's kind of what's happening here.
Yeah.
But so because Robbie had already gotten to a point where he couldn't undo what he basically had already said to everybody and Daryl, so he had to go through with nominating Thomas and Daryl, which is interesting that it was Thomas and not Quinn, and I think that's really because Quinn is still the big move, and putting Quinn on the block, it just like really just like says, okay, I'm coming after you, and they
were nervous about his veto chances.
They were
right, which is great because we get into
good segue.
Yeah, great segue because we get into the veto draw, which. When we put the veto redraw on the menu, we really did not think that this was going to be a big deal.
No, we didn't think it would be used. We thought, oh, well, here's something to maybe entice someone to use it for a cup, just to get tokens out of the game.
Yeah.
And now we have the second veto redraw that got bought. So the original draw was Kaylee, Alex, and
Connor.
And Connor, yes. Kaylee, Alex, and Connor, which I was off busy doing something, but then all of a sudden my phone's blowing up. It's always blowing up, but it was blowing up in Quinn's diary room saying, okay, I'm buying the redraw. I'm really doing it this time. And let's talk about this from just a strategic point of view before the results of it. Is this a good move for Quinn?
Yes, I think it is. Kaylee, if she won the veto, probably wouldn't use it. If she did use it, she would probably use it on Thomas because she and Thomas at least have some working relationship. And then Quinn could be the replacement. Alex might use it to initiate the backdoor plan of Quinn and get Robbie to do it. Alex could save Thomas under the guise that it was like a room 4 thing. And like he wanted to save his room 4 person. And then Connor, Quinn has no business.
We'll get to Connor.
Yeah, okay, we're good. So I think it was the right move.
Yes, I think it doesn't matter who got drawn. I think if Quinn didn't get drawn, this is a good move because, and he said it to Alex. He said, I had to put the control in my own hands. I know that out there are conversations about me going up on the block and going home at any point in time. And if I have an opportunity to fight for my own safety, regardless of who's on the block, who's not on the block, it doesn't even matter if he can get out of there pulling Thomas off or whatever. Like, exactly. He's got to take that chance because Quinn knows that, especially at the point where he had seen the competition, probably even more so knew like, hey, I can practice this one and I can really nail it. So right now, Quinn is my odds-on favorite to win the veto tomorrow.
Yeah,
for sure.
Well, Robbie also
Quinn got picked, by the way. We didn't say that. Quinn
did get picked in the redraw.
Yeah. So the new redraw is Quinn and who else?
The new redraw is Quinn, Connor, and somebody else that I don't remember off the top of my head. Not
Gray.
And Gray. Yes, Gray. Sorry, go ahead, Steven. We kept interrupting.
No, I was going to say that Robbie also told Quinn that he was considering putting him up instead of Thomas. So
why did you tell Quinn that?
He told. Don't ask me questions I can't answer. He went separately to Thomas and to Quinn and told both of them that they were going up, but that they're basically pawns because Quinn is a great pawn.
Yeah.
Because he really wants Daryl out.
The funny thing is he's speaking his truth.
He is, but there's not a chance ever that Quinn is going to believe that.
Or survive the block.
And if the house has the option between Quinn and Daryl, easy.
Quinn is gone.
Bye, Quinn.
Right. And so that's the other thing for him, is knowing that he was almost on the block anyway. And so if someone was to win veto and get pulled off, he would be the replacement. And he knows that.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
Quinn can't survive another vote, I don't think.
No.
He can't be on the block again at voting time. Like, he barely escaped in the second round.
Now that Trey's gone, the guy that saved him in the first time.
Which he was having doubts about. He thought Trey was voted against him. I'm like, bruh, no.
What? I mean, right now I feel like, what path does Quinn have right now to make it much further in this game? I think it's
winning.
Yeah, just
winning competitions.
He's got to win.
That's
at this point, at final 10 forward, is darn near impossible.
And hope that Thomas wins something, because I don't think Thomas would come after him. Thomas is his only path, really.
No. It would be interesting to me, though, if someone like Alex got voted out. If someone decided to make a move on him while Quinn was safe, if Quinn is the one who decided I'm making the move on Alex, does that shift things enough that he could find a way to have a little group?
It depends on how fluid other players are willing to be, and the season has shown us that they're willing. But Quinn is someone that he needs someone like him in the game, because Quinn is always willing to make a new group and to.
I think that's Connor.
Path. Yeah, I think that is Connor. But does Connor get, put his guard down enough on Quinn to let him in?
I don't know if Connor has a choice either, because the only person that's really fighting for Connor is Robbie.
Yeah.
But nobody else is really on Connor's side.
And the thing is, Connor knows that. Connor, you can only believe a tenth of what Connor says at any given time.
That's even being generous.
But he did tell Robbie today. He was talking about jury, and obviously this was, he was. What's the word I'm looking for? He wasn't doing this all just out of the goodness of his heart to tell Robbie this, because he had his own reasons of trying to get Robbie to do what he wanted him to do. But he did say, I don't see a path for me to get to the end. He's like, these people are not going to take me to the end. And I know that. So I know I'm going on the jury, and I'm pumped to be on the jury. And then, went from there. So I think that was a half truth on his part. I think he does know that he's in trouble.
I don't know that he's in trouble.
I don't know that he is either. I'm not sure. The fact that he's made it this far without anybody even remotely targeting him is astounding.
The reality, he's going to be in trouble, though. He's going to be. He's not yet. There's going to come a time that it all blows up, and then it's over. And that time is going to come. I could not be more certain of it. I've told you guys both this. I think he's playing an incredible game, because Josh calls him the snakiest snake in the game, but he gets away with it time and time and time again. He's kind of the anti-Alec. He's on different ends of the spectrum, but they're both playing so well, different ways. But the difference is he's going to get caught. That's going to happen.
I think so. I think so. So, a quick aside. Quinn has been annoying the last 24 hours.
We're going here now.
But it's not important. It's not important. I don't think. Connor's game is something else. And Connor's mind is running at Tony speed, always going, and every 2 minutes it feels like I get another video from Connor saying the next person he's targeting, and I don't know if any one of those people have gone home yet, because Connor's game is thriving in stirring these pots when he's in a position of safety, when the nominations are set or whatever, or he knows he's not going on the block or whatever. He waits for a lot of these players wait for those things, and smart players do, but I'm just so... This is not how Connor won his season. Not at all. This version of Connor is different. Like I don't know how to explain it. I don't know. I don't know. It's just working for him.
I think why is it working? It's just working because I think the big cast at the beginning definitely helped him
Yeah.
because he was able to hide behind the sheer number of people that we had, and I think he did a good job of not like. Well, the fact that he recovered from like announcing to the entire game that he won the game before, also incredible. But and like the fact that nobody talks about that is weird. But
Yeah.
Quick side note. I see that Melody from season 3 is watching. Melody, when are
Melody.
you gonna get your butt back in this game? Because the world deserves for you to play this game again. I just want to say that. Now that if I have your attention still.
Yes, please.
Okay, anyway. So here's something interesting that I've been thinking about. I went back and scrolled through Sam, winner from last season, his diary room, because at the end of his season, towards the beginning of this one, he kind of gave us the scouting report on Alex, and I remember him doing that. I couldn't remember what he said, but I want to know. And so I scroll back, and basically he said, kind of things that we're learning about him, that he can sometimes be emotional, sometimes take things a little too seriously, or not seriously, but personally is the word. But that in a game he played, he burned everybody on the jury, and none of them wanted to vote for him. I see him and Connor both in positions where we really could, for the first time since I've been doing this, have a very bitter jury. Like this could be the season it happens because we're gonna have two people. If either of them are at the end, I still think they probably get the votes, but we may have a much harsher. Like if they don't get a chance to plead their case or talk, and the jury just voted, like what jury? Like are people gonna be really pissed at Alex because everyone thought they had his undying loyalty? Are people gonna be pissed at Connor because he snaked his way throughout this game? Those are two harsh games that when they get to the end have to see their judgment.
Yeah, explain your.
Like I could see Daryl, Quinn, and Gray all being extremely bitter towards Alex if he's at the end.
Right.
Daryl is going to be bitter at whomever is at the end. I can. But yeah, Quinn. But you said didn't correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't you say that even if Quinn was voted out, like, and he knew Alex was responsible, he still would have given him his pendants?
Yeah, Quinn said a couple days ago, if Alex blindsides me today and gets me out, he's getting my pendants. Just because he...
If Alex knew that, if Alex somehow knew that, Quinn would have been gone. Quinn would be so gone.
Because Quinn was like, if Alex gets me out, he has fooled me that hard. And the fact that he even said that, I was like, listen to yourself. Listen to yourself. Oh my God.
Max, how hard is it for you to like listen to Quinn do these, like say these things, knowing what you know?
Max and Quinn are brothers.
We're brothers. We're quarantining at home together. He's literally in the next room over. We can hear each other from across the room. It is the hardest.
We're losing you.
Did we lose him?
We lost him.
I don't know how you did it, Josh. With Jenny, I don't know how you did it because I have to go back.
Yeah, you're back.
I hear.
He's back.
Okay, I don't know why that's happening. Quinn, I'm gonna tell on him. He tries to get information out of me so often, and I have to. I have to be so careful about what I say. It's extremely difficult, and I want so bad to like tell him what he's doing wrong, and I can't. I just have to sit there stone cold, and I'm a horrible liar. So,
and for all that Quinn has done well, like he has done things. I mean, he's still in this game. Like that's the crazy part. Is that he's still like in the first game.
6 days were masterful from him. Like he was great. I think he's a little too tunnel vision right now with room 4. He's been very room 4. Like he has been willing to die for room 4. And I'm like, I mean, yes, I think the reason is because like he finally sees something like that's concrete, and like he he just wants something that's real, and he feels like that's real, and he just wants to hold on to it for as long as possible. But
Right.
I think he's just losing sight of everything else around him, and he's just gonna. The game is gonna pass him by if he like keeps drinking the room 4 Kool-Aid
Oh yeah.
for that long.
But I think that's slowly dying. I mean, I think it's going. I think it's hopefully slowly dying. The room 4 thing. Someone else. There's some other people I want to get to. We can. I mean, there's some people that we can really like rail on. Let's talk about Nathan for a second. Like
I knew that was coming.
Nathan, when you see this, I'm so glad. If you guys haven't seen his last diary room, you two being Steven and Max, it's not out in the universe yet. Nathan said he got voted out of whatever other game he was playing in. Thank God.
Yeah.
Praised God. Because.
Last night at 9 p.m., an hour before the vote, he did not know who the nominees were. He had no idea who was on the block an hour before the vote.
Yep. And he was talking to Thomas today, and very far on in the conversation, he was like, "Oh, I just figured out that you were on the block." And I was like, "Nathan, like, come on, man. Like,
for as good as like this cast has been about things, and like even Nathan's not been like horrible, but he has his moments where I'm like, Nathan, where the heck are you?"
Yeah, I actually have to get out of here, but I'm going to leave on this. I should have been right about who was first boot. If it wasn't for categories, Nathan, I love you. I hope that you play a great game from here on out, but my God, you should have been the first boot. That's what should have happened. We should have had Billy here. Everything would have been okay.
Absolutely.
And I'll sign off on that. See you guys.
Bye.
See you viewing party.
All right. See ya.
So, anyway, Nathan's a mess. Like, he's that there. Kaylee is not a mess, but she's just not in position to really take control of her destiny in this, which is a shame because, like, she could have this awesome story about being the only girl, like, one of 2 girls in this game and being the only one in the post jury, and really hasn't taken, like, she hasn't won anything. She hasn't controlled. She hasn't been in the driver's seat for anything. She's been used 2 times in a row as a pawn and been told that. That's like not great. You don't want to be that person.
I feel like if Kaylee played again, she would learn from this season and do a lot better. But I think it's just kind of too late. She just hasn't formed the relationships, and I'm not really sure that she's ever expressed the desire to control anything. That's the thing. Like, she's very, very content to just kind of like ride the wave.
Gosh, Max, get a grip on your internet.
See how far it gets her, but what I'm missing is like he's not gonna just make the end. Are we good now?
Whatever's wrong with your internet. Oh, he's gone. He's back.
I'm trying, guys.
It's okay. It's the stupid Clemson
I promise I'm trying.
Well, anything else?
Who else do we need to talk about? Gray.
Gray. I believe that Gray's playing a really good game. There's a situation. We have a situation, guys. We have a situation. And that is that if Quinn does win this veto tomorrow, and more than likely would pull Thomas off the block, I guess. I mean, like, I guess if here's the thing, the situation where he doesn't. If Quinn wins tomorrow, doesn't pull Thomas off, like, he can be okay with Daryl going home, which is probably what's going to happen. Instead of him risking, if he's still on the Alex train, risking Alex going up or risking Gray going up, who he probably is a little tighter with, like in reality, maybe. And Thomas didn't use the veto on him way back when.
Yeah.
But if he does use the veto on Thomas, Gray is almost certainly going to be the replacement nominee at this point, unless, Robbie decides to do something which I think a little smarter and put like Kaylee or Nathan up.
Yeah, I could see that, but he's already, like you said, he's done the room 4 thing, and putting up Kaylee would be putting up someone in his own room, which is not a great look. Nathan is also in his room, so it's I don't know if he would want to do that.
Yeah. So that I would be worried for Gray, but I still don't think that he would go home in that situation. I think that it would be Daryl because Alex, who has a lot of power, obviously, is really going to not want to upset. I mean, we talked about don't upset the HOH and not being a big deal, but I think in this situation with Alex and Robbie being pretty much as tight as anyone can be with Alex, um, I think that Alex would make sure that Daryl went home, even though he doesn't necessarily want Daryl to go home. I don't think he would want Gray to go home either.
That makes sense. One person we have not talked about yet is Shane.
Where's Shane been?
Don't know. Shane's kind of dropped off the face of the earth. He was a very flashy player pre-jury, and Shane has been very quiet recently.
Very, very quiet. I forgot he was in the game.
Exactly. So if Shane sneaks by and kind of reemerges, like maybe he could make something happen.
See, that's the other thing. But he's not great at competitions either. So that's the thing. Like, you got to win something to get any kind of power. And the fact that Shane is like sunk under the radar a little bit, I think that he could be someone that's still a sitting duck for someone like Quinn if he decides to not make a huge move and go after Alex or something in coming HOH. The HOH we have coming up next is interesting because it'll be the if you've seen Big Brother, the style where like if Max and I were facing off, whoever wins amongst us gets to choose the next matchup, and that often the reason that exists is it's designed to expose people for who they're working with and who they're not, and who they don't want to put in danger in a situation for who they want to win HOH. I'm curious what kind of person's going to win that, on Saturday or whenever. Because I could see someone like Shane maybe winning that, or like being in a position to win it, or Nathan being in a position to win, unless people in room 4, these bigger players, target them first to try and hide the facade that they're not going after each other.
Yeah, I mean, I could definitely see someone like Shane or Nathan or Kaylee kind of like at least getting to the end, because I don't think people would pick them to face off. I think that would kind of slide under the radar. I'm curious to know what your evaluation at this point is of the room system and how people have been very much keeping with that for the majority of the game. Like the game has very much been framed around these rooms, and they have influenced a whole lot. Like the rooms were randomly assigned. I used a random number generator and put everybody in rooms.
Use a real random number generator?
God, I used it for good this time and not evil.
Daniel for out there.
So I'm kind of surprised at how like very loyal everybody is being to their rooms.
Excuse me. It's interesting. I did not anticipate it. I obviously anticipated it to be a thing at the beginning. Like,
for sure.
This is my starting room. This is where I'm going with, and it's modeled after the sequester minis, which that never lasts ever.
No.
Like, it lasted a whole like 2 minutes every time I've ever played, and every time I've watched it played. So it's interesting. It's interesting. Like, I guess maybe I'm curious if we do it again in a future season, which we might. I don't know if we'll do it right away again, but if we do, because I loved it in the opening, and I still think it was a great way to start it off. I'm curious if it would be a thing every time, or if maybe it's just this time, or if we ran this season back, would it happen this way again? I don't know.
Because room 3 is completely gone. Yeah, room 1 is just Shane, and room 2 and 4 are almost entirely intact. Room 4 is entirely intact. Room 2 has just lost Billy, and that was the first vote. So room 2 and 4 have been very safe throughout this whole thing. I just find that very interesting.
I think we're at a point now where the bigger issue with a lot of people is the returning players, because if people got to this final 11 and 10, or especially 11 yesterday, and was like, there's 11 of us and 5 of them are returners. We've got to make a move against that. And I don't think we're going to have a returner go home tomorrow, probably. That could change. But I think people are worried about that in conjunction with the rooms, like the room 4 thing. Like room 4, they have been strong, but I think they've only been strong. I think it's been like a marriage of convenience more than like a marriage of like matrimony.
I'd say so. I'd say that Quinn and Alex and Gray were the matrimony, and then the Thomas and Daryl were the convenience for sure. Um, they have their room chat is fairly active. I mean, around competitions, like they kind of they're like, oh, we got to keep room 4 strong and everything like this. And like Thomas will like say that he's with them just because like it's a group, it's a herd, but they've never really worked together as a full unit to execute a strategy, which is interesting.
Right.
Alex has kind of been in his own little universe and kind of pops in whenever it's convenient, like you said.
And good on them for like it's the closest thing like we've almost had to like a big alliance in this game.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just been more convenient for them, I think. And then because of that, it became like a real target.
This is another element of this season that I find really fascinating is that a lot of times you'll have like two general, clearly defined sides of the house, like this alliance, maybe you have a couple people in the middle. This season had all of the strategy, virtually all of the strategy has occurred in one-on-one conversations. And the alliances have formed, like group chats have formed, but they're never really persistent. All of the ones that have formed have like had their peak of conversation, then they die out, and then another one comes and it peaks and it dies out. And even the ones that exist now and are generally active are at most 3 people.
Yeah.
So the what that means is that it's more reliant on people communicating to each other. It's like a game of telephone, honestly. Like,
oh, I think you're frozen.
You're trusting more people to communicate what you want to somebody else without knowing. You got me, right?
You're good. Yeah, you're good.
Hi.
You're good. You're good.
Okay.
So yeah,
Okay, cool.
I'm curious to see how this game has been fluid in alliances like that. I think because we had so many people, it's hard to rally people together, which I've really liked. I think it's made it very unpredictable. And
Oh yeah.
and I think that there has been some predictable moments throughout the season. I think once things. I mean, the game of Big Brother is like that. Once you start seeing how things are happening, it becomes predictable. But I think that like in terms of where this goes after every round, it just depends on who wins HOH every round, and I think that's made it really fun because we really have no idea how things are going to go. Right now, the only sure thing that we know is that Alex is in control of absolutely everything and is probably going to win.
I'm praying that something happens within the next 6 rounds to make that more of an interesting plot line.
Right.
Like,
right now, my rooting interest is Gray. Like I'm really rooting for Gray and hoping because he's been playing a great game. He's not on anyone's radar for real, and he right now does have 2 great shields in Robbie and Alex, and I think that he's got to use that to his advantage. And even Quinn. I think Gray is sitting in a really nice spot. But at what point will that come to a head? And like I think that it's the Lions and the Hyenas thing too, because we have Nathan and Shane and Kaylee right now. That could be like 3 of the final 5 if they're not careful.
Yeah, it's true. If people don't start targeting Nathan and Shane and Kaylee, like they will take somebody's spot that has outplayed them, and the people who are really playing need to recognize that for sure.
Yep.
Yeah.
Alex is the one that's got to recognize that, and here's why. Alex is smart enough to know that he probably beats everybody, that he probably beats absolutely anybody, and like I think that he can be willing to get some of the hyenas out so that they don't threaten his spot down the line if one of those wins a fluke HOH or something, where these bigger players can still have each other to kind of go after if he can somehow find his way to maneuver it, which he can of all people. So I think Alex could be the one to make that happen, but
You're right.
that's a lot of strategy.
I have a rooting interest in Gray too because Gray was my winner pick. So
I think this is Jeff in the comments saying that if Gray isn't on anyone's radar, then I failed miserably. He's really not.
No.
I don't know if he's ever really been. So
Jeff, I'm sorry, but everyone kind of dismissed you as like angry as you were going out of the house, and they kind of didn't get it.
We appreciate the effort. We
really
do.
It was great. It was great. We love the fireworks, but nobody really bit on it.
Yeah. All right, I think that's about all I've got for now because I'm wearing down and driving to Florida tomorrow, so I should go to
Yeah,
sleep or at least lay down.
go to bed.
We'll see. We'll see. I might work on some more editing videos or something. Um, I'm gonna tease something for those of you that have made it. I'm gonna just really tease it. But at some point in the next month, Max and I are gonna come on here in the Big Brother Hometowns viewing party, and maybe even just on my Facebook page, and we are gonna blow your minds. We have a
We are.
big project in the works.
We are.
A humongous Big Brother Hometowns project in the works, and we are gonna dump it all on you all at once, and I am so excited. So for the one of you still watching, probably Jeff or anyone else that stumbles across this part, that you made it 50 minutes and 36 seconds into this um, show, we're teasing a big project that is going to drop, and it's going to be really exciting. Hopefully within the next month, that is all unleashed.
It's what I was doing instead of doing my homework. So,
Really?
yes, 1,000,000%.
Interesting. When we get off here, I'm curious what part of it that you were actually working on.
Okay.
So, and then I guess we can also plug this in the next, probably week or two. We'll drop an application for season 9. I know that quarantine may start slowing down soon, and that you may have to go back to your normal life. Maybe not. I'm slowly starting to have to go back to normal life. Um, but we still want you to play this game.
Yeah, come play. It's really fun.
And we're just getting our momentum is rocking and rolling, and we're headed towards season 9. We keep brushing over it, but it's gonna be really exciting. But season 10 is definitely coming, and that's gonna be a big one. And we're going to we're gonna make it real good season 10 when it comes. But hey, if you want to be eligible for season 10 and you haven't played Big Brother Hometowns yet, you gotta play season 9.
Exactly.
So that's really what it all boils down to. Otherwise, I'm signing off from my office, and we'll see you next time.
See you guys.